Today marks 70 years since the Pearl Harbor attacks, and survivors are preserving its story.
We found New Mexicans who survived that fateful day, and they met regularly at Cracker Barrel right here in Albuquerque. We caught up with them, and they shared their memories with us. Take a look.
I went and got the Honolulu Herald, the newspaper, Sunday newspaper. Big headlines across the front of it. War with Japan is imminent. Envoys leave Washington. And I read it, and I took it up to chief quarters and gave it to Canberra. And he says, what do you think? And I said, this place is going to be hit this morning.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air. President Roosevelt has just announced.
We was getting ready to go in a dry dock, but the ship that was in there was a week late, so we didn't make it. It's a good thing because the ship that was in there didn't get out. It was blown up.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
I may not look like a Pearl Harbor survivor, although I'm kind of old, but I was actually there. My father, who's this picture of my father, this was taken shortly before Pearl Harbor in the late 30s when he was a mounted Marine in China. And my mother was there, and she was pregnant with me. So I was actually minus 7.5 months old at Pearl Harbor when they bombed. The story about my father and mother is they were outside, and I looked up and saw the planes coming, and my mother commented on it. And my father says, well, we don't maneuver on Sunday, we're at war. And he rushed off to go to his anti-aircraft gun, but before he did, he went in and shaved, which I always thought was an interesting story because you never see that in the movies. You see Ben Affleck jump in the Jeep and goes roaring off, and apparently he shaved and got dressed in his uniform before he went off to fight in Pearl Harbor. His name was Lawrence Joseph Scott, and you might be interested because it was your grandfather. So, and the person talking to me right now is Jeff Scott, who's my son. So he is a descendant of a Pearl Harbor survivor.
This here was taken before they start dropping the bombs.
Okay.
It's by a Japanese pilot. See, I was tied up over here by this big crane. There was one torpedo bomber coming in right down through the channel. Right here, heading for the ship. And he flipped his canopy back and was laughing at us.
The first torpedo hit. Not next to us, but we heard it. And the guy looked at me and said, what was that? And I said, that was a torpedo. We're under attack by the Japanese. We had one. The second bomb went through 5 inches of steel in number 3 turret and killed 3 guys. And one of them was the first-class boatswain mate, a very good friend of mine. The guy looked at me and he says, you see that guy over in West Virginia? And I turned around and looked. And I said, well, he's going to try to jump over here on board the Tennessee. I said, he can't make it. And then Wilson Traven and all the other guy did, and he backed up as far as he thought he ought to, and he jumped up on the cable, and lost himself towards the Tennessee. And we held on to the cable and reached as far as we did, and we missed him about that far.
Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we go to meet the foe. Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we did the Alamo.
The third Pearl Harbor survivor that's here at the lunch is Ray Youngman, and he didn't want to be interviewed. He's a shy guy. These are 2 pictures that were taken. Well, one was taken in '46 and one in '50. but he was in the Navy.
He was a Marine 19 years old, stationed at the Marine Barracks Munitions D on Kaneohe.
He was 24 years old when he joined the Navy and was here.
This was in 1940, the year before Pearl Harbor. And this is when he became a chief petty officer. His name is Lonnie Hodges. And he was on the Oklahoma when Pearl Harbor was bombed.
We will always remember how they died for liberty. Let's remember Pearl Harbor and go on to victory. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
And a special thanks to Kenny Hatchett for putting that together, finding the footage of the initial break-in on the radio with the news. Unbelievable. That, of course, was our salute to New Mexico's Pearl Harbor survivors, who will be honored, actually, at a ceremony in just a couple hours at the New Mexico Veterans Memorial. That's right near Kirtland Air Force Base right here. So,
yeah, and we also heard from Albuquerque resident Tanya Gary, who told us about another New Mexico Pearl Harbor survivor, her stepfather, Lee Gary. He didn't want to be interviewed on camera, but you can see him right there. He did let us get a few pictures of him there.
Yes, he's a little shy, but we do appreciate that. We want to thank you all so much for your service, and especially Lee. We appreciate everything that you've done as well. Even if you don't want to be on camera, we appreciate everything they've done. My goodness, we can never let that go in our memories, and we're so glad we could do a little tribute for that today. In the meantime, let's switch gears a little bit, and I'll tell you what, put away the little black dress, slip into something fabulous.
Elsa Ross is next with holiday must-haves. Stick around.